What is that doing in first class? Senator Rebecca Hartwell's voice cut through the cabin like broken glass. Designer sunglasses perched on blonde highlights. Chanel suit that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Board member of the Hartwell Foundation for Medical Innovation. 3 terms in the U.S. Senate. Untouchable. These people always try to sneak up here. Get her out. Your kind belongs in the back where you can't steal from us. Maya Washington looked up from her tablet. 12 years old, 4'9". Gray hoodie 3 sizes too big, swallowing her small frame. Purple backpack clutched in lap. Flying alone to Boston for a medical conference that nobody believed she was attending. What Senator Hartwell did next would destroy her career, expose a conspiracy 3 years in the making, and force America to confront the question it never wants to answer. How many brilliant black children have we dismissed because we couldn't see past our prejudice? Comment where you're listening from. Subscribe to channel. Let me tell you who Maya Washington really was. 3rd Ward, Houston, Texas. The kind of neighborhood where corner stores have bulletproof glass and ambulances take 20 minutes longer than they should. Maya lived in a 3rd-floor walk-up with her mother, Keisha, who worked double shifts as a nursing assistant at Memorial Hermann Hospital. 14-hour days, minimum wage, no benefits. Maya's father was Dr. James Washington, pediatric endocrinologist, brilliant researcher who chose to work at Ben Taub Hospital, Houston's public safety net hospital, because that's where poor kids needed him most. Understaffed, underfunded, overwhelmed. When Maya was 9, her father started losing weight, stomach pains, fatigue. He kept putting off the tests. Too busy saving other people's children. Too many patients who had no one else. By the time they found the pancreatic cancer, it was stage 4. 6 months later, he was dead. 38 years old. Here's what nobody knew about Maya Washington. Mini cliffhanger. At age 7, Maya was reading her father's medical journals. By 8, she could explain the endocrine system better than most medical students. By 10, she was co-authoring research papers with her father. 3 published papers in peer-reviewed journals on infant adrenal insufficiency before she turned 12. The purple backpack she carried everywhere? Inside, her father's silver stethoscope with "Heal with Love, Dad" engraved on the case. 3 research papers with her name and her father's name together. An invitation from Boston Children's Hospital to present at the International Pediatric Endocrinology Conference. And 1 document she carried everywhere but had never shown anyone. A rejection letter. Dated 3 months before her father died. From the Hartwell Foundation for Medical Innovation. Dr. James Washington had applied for a research grant to develop affordable diagnostic screening for adrenal disorders in infants. Rural communities, public hospitals, poor neighborhoods where babies died from preventable diseases because their parents couldn't afford private pediatricians and specialty medications. The foundation denied him. Not enough commercial viability. Research needed to be patentable, sellable, profitable. Saving poor kids didn't make financial sense. The letter was signed by the foundation's board of directors, including Senator Rebecca Hartwell. Maya had memorized every word of that rejection, every cold clinical phrase about market analysis and return on investment and limited funding resources. She knew her father had spent his last 3 months alive trying to secure that funding. Knew he'd died believing his research would never happen. Knew that thousands of children would keep suffering from preventable crises because the Hartwell Foundation valued profit over human life. What Maya didn't know, not yet, was that in 11 minutes, Senator Hartwell's son would stop breathing, and Maya would be the only person on United Flight 447 who could save him. That was her first mistake. Houston George Bush Intercontinental Airport, January 12, 2026. 6:15 a.m., Gate 23. United Flight 4847 to Boston, first-class boarding. The gate agent scanned Maya's boarding pass, and her eyebrows shot up like she'd been shocked. "First class, honey. Are you sure?" "It's correct, ma'am." Maya's voice was quiet. Always quiet. Her father had taught her, in a world that sees you as loud before you open your mouth, speak softly and carry documentation. "Are you traveling with an adult?" "No, ma'am. I have my unaccompanied minor paperwork." Maya handed over the folder. Everything organized, everything perfect. Ticket confirmation from Johns Hopkins Hospital, invitation to present at Boston Children's, parental consent forms, medical conference credentials. The agent studied it all, then studied Maya, then studied the documents again. Her expression said what her mouth didn't. This doesn't seem right. "Go ahead." First class was a different world. Leather seats the color of money, warm lighting that made everything look expensive, the smell of fresh coffee and privilege. Only 8 seats total. Maya found 2B, window seat. She pulled out her tablet and opened a medical journal. Advances in detecting adrenal crisis in infants under 1 year. Her father's unfinished work. A white businessman in row 1 glanced at her, then quickly away. An elderly woman in row 3 clutched her purse tighter. Maya pretended not to notice. She'd been pretending not to notice her whole life. Then chaos arrived wearing Chanel. Senator Rebecca Hartwell swept into first class like she owned the airplane. Designer diaper bag over one shoulder, 11-month-old Andrew screaming in her other arm, phone pressed to her ear. "Yes, Martin. The Boston Children's Gala tonight. 50,000 donation. Photos with sick kids. Good press." Andrew's screams intensified. Rebecca jiggles him mechanically, annoyed, like shaking a malfunctioning appliance. "Andrew, stop." "What?" "I fired the nanny. Too expensive." She stopped at row 2. Seat 2A, right next to Maya. Rebecca's eyes landed on the small, black girl in the oversized hoodie. Her expression froze, then soured. What happened next would expose everything. "Excuse me." Rebecca's voice had that sharp edge rich white women perfect over generations of getting their way. "I think there's been a mistake." Maya looked up. "Ma'am." "This is first class." "Yes, ma'am. I'm in 2B. You're in 2A." Rebecca's laugh was sharp enough to cut. "You're in first class. Where are your parents?" "My father passed away. My mother is working in Houston." "So you're alone. In first class." The disbelief was thick as fog. "How convenient." "Johns Hopkins Hospital purchased my ticket, ma'am. I'm presenting at a medical conference." "A medical conference?" Rebecca drew out each syllable, dripping with mockery. "How creative." She turned, scanning for help. "Flight attendant. Flight attendant." Jessica appeared. Young, overwhelmed, already regretting her career choice. "Yes, Senator Hartwell?" "There's been a ticketing error. This child is in first class, alone. I need this resolved." Jessica glanced at Maya apologetically. "Ma'am, if I could just— I am Senator Rebecca Hartwell, Senate Transportation Committee. I know the regulations. Unaccompanied minors do not fly first class, especially not—" She stopped, but everyone heard the unspoken word. In row 4, Marcus Thompson, black, 40, Washington Post journalist, quietly pulled out his phone. He'd seen this before. He'd written about this before. He started recording. This is when everything changed. Jessica scanned Maya's boarding pass once, twice. "Senator, this is confirmed first class, paid in full by Johns Hopkins Hospital. Everything is in order." "That's impossible." Rebecca's face flushed. "Look at her. Does she look like she belongs here?" Mini cliffhanger. Marcus's phone kept recording. Fine, fine. Rebecca dropped into 2A, still on her phone. But if anything goes missing from my bag, I'm holding the airline responsible. These people always— Ma'am, Jessica tried. I'm not racist, I'm practical. Statistics don't lie. She waved Jessica off. Can I get a vodka tonic? I cannot deal with this sober. Maya turned to the window, made herself smaller, eyes burning, but she wouldn't cry, wouldn't give them the satisfaction. She opened her medical journal. Behind her, Marcus's phone kept recording. And in Rebecca's arms, baby Andrew's screaming took on a different tone. Weaker, more desperate. Nobody noticed yet. The plane pushed back from the gate, the cabin door sealed with a heavy thunk. No escape now. Rebecca finally put down her phone and tried to settle Andrew. He was still screaming, face a deep crimson. She fumbled with a bottle. He turned his head away, refusing. Andrew, for God's sake! She shoved the bottle at him again. He batted it away with a weak hand. Formula spilled across her Chanel suit. Perfect. Just perfect. Rebecca's voice dripped venom. She looked at Maya. Here's what they didn't want you to know. This is your fault. If I wasn't so distracted by this ridiculous situation. Maya said nothing, kept reading about sodium retention in infants with adrenal insufficiency. The words blurred. Her hands shook. The businessman in row 1 leaned over. Senator Hartwell, I have to say, I agree with you completely. The airline standards have really gone downhill. First class used to mean something. Thank you. Rebecca's voice warmed. Finally, someone with sense. I mean, look at her. She didn't even lower her voice. 12 years old in first class. Please. We all know what's happening here. The elderly woman in row 3 nodded. My granddaughter is 12. She would never be allowed to fly alone like this. It's not proper. It's not safe, Rebecca added. Who knows what kind of family situation? Well, we can all imagine. Maya's jaw tightened, eyes on screen. Breathe. Stay dignified. The flight attendants began the safety demonstration. Rebecca ignored it, scrolling through her phone while Andrew writhed in her arm. Jessica, Rebecca snapped her fingers. My vodka tonic. Right away, Senator. Rebecca turned her attention back to Maya. Vodka was making her mean. Or maybe she was always this mean, and vodka just gave her permission. So, Johns Hopkins, was it? Her voice dripped with false sweetness. Tell me, sweetie, what exactly does a child do at Johns Hopkins? File papers? Fetch coffee? Maya looked up, voice measured. Voice. I'm a junior medical researcher in the pediatric endocrinology department. I study rare diseases in infants. The truth was about to destroy everything. Rebecca's laugh was loud enough to turn heads in economy. Oh, this is gold. A researcher. At 12. And let me guess. You're a genius? A prodigy? I've published 3 papers on infant adrenal insufficiency, with my father, before he passed away. Your father, the doctor. Rebecca's tone made it clear she didn't believe a word. How convenient that he's not here to verify any of this. He died 3 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Oh, sweetie. False sympathy, thick and poisonous. I'm sure that's a very sad story. But making up credentials to get free tickets? That's fraud. That's criminal. I'm not lying. Then prove it. Show me these supposed papers you wrote. Maya hesitated. She could pull out the printed copies, show the peer-reviewed journals, show the invitation letter signed by Dr. Patricia Carter. But something in Rebecca's expression told her it wouldn't matter. Rebecca didn't want truth. She wanted to be right. I don't need to prove anything to you, ma'am. Ha! Rebecca turned to the businessman. Did you hear that? I don't need to prove anything. That's what they all say when they're caught. Jessica returned with the vodka tonic. Rebecca took a long drink. What Rebecca did next would cost her everything. You know what I think? The vodka loosened her words, made them meaner. I think someone made a mistake. I think a charity, probably one of those disadvantaged youth programs, bought you a ticket as some kind of feel-good gesture. Make a wish for kids who want to pretend they're special. And somehow you got upgraded. And now you're sitting here with your little tablet, reading words you probably don't even understand, playing dress-up as a scientist. Maya's breathing stayed steady. Eyes wet. Blink hard. Don't cry. I'm not playing. Sure you're not, or you're another drink. Let me tell you something about the real world, honey. People like you. You don't get to be researchers. You don't get to sit in first class. You don't get to skip the line just because you tell some sob story about your dead daddy. The cabin went silent. Even the flight attendants froze. Marcus in row 4 leaned forward, making sure his phone captured everything. There's an order to things, Rebecca continued, and you're out of order. Mini cliffhanger. Senator Hartwell. Jessica tried to intervene. Don't senator me. I'm doing this child a favor. Better she learns now. The world doesn't owe her anything. Not a first-class seat, not a fancy education, not respect. She spat the last word. Respect is earned, and she hasn't earned it. Ma'am, please. Maya's voice cracked. Oh, now you want to cry? Rebecca laughed. What did you think would happen? That you'd come up here, sit with your betters, and we'd all just nod and smile and pretend you belong? Andrew suddenly went limp in her arms. His screaming cut off mid-wail. Rebecca barely noticed. She was on a roll, flushed with vodka and righteousness. You know what really bothers me? It's people like you that make people like me look bad. I vote for personal responsibility. I vote for people to earn their own way. But then you show up with your fake tickets and your made-up stories and your... Ma'am. Maya's voice was different now. Urgent. Ma'am, your baby. Don't you dare tell me about my baby. He's not breathing right. Rebecca finally looked down at Andrew. His lips had gone from red to pale. His chest was moving too fast, too shallow. His eyes were unfocused. What? Andrew? Andrew, baby? She jiggled him. He didn't respond. His little hand flopped loose, revealing the medical alert bracelet on his wrist. 3 letters engraved in silver. C-A-H. Maya saw it. Her blood went ice cold. This is when Maya made a choice that would cost everything. Ma'am, when did Andrew last eat? What? This morning. I don't know. The nanny, usually. Does he take medication? Daily medication? What are you? Jessica! Rebecca was screaming now. Jessica, something's wrong with my baby. Andrew's breathing was getting worse, rapid gasping. Maya unbuckled her seatbelt. The plane was still taxiing toward the runway. Ma'am, I need you to listen very carefully. Your son has CAH, congenital adrenal hyperplasia. That bracelet, you know what it means, right? Rebecca stared at her, then at the bracelet, then back at Maya, face blank. You don't know. Maya's voice was flat. You don't even know what disease your son has. The doctor said it was manageable. The nanny handles his medications. When did your nanny quit? Rebecca's face went white. 2 days ago. But I didn't think. He missed his doses. He's dehydrated from flying, stressed, probably fighting an infection. He's going into Addisonian crisis. His adrenal system is shutting down. If we don't treat him in the next 8 to 10 minutes, his heart will stop. The cabin went silent. Rebecca stared at this 12-year-old child she'd just spent 10 minutes humiliating. Then she did something she'd probably never done in her life. What happened next will shock you. Help him. Please. Please help my baby. Maya stood frozen, every eye in first class on her. The businessman spoke up. "Senator, you can't seriously be asking a child—" "Shut up." Rebecca's voice cracked with terror. "Help him, please." The plane's engines roared, approaching the runway. Jessica ran up. "Ma'am, you need to sit. We need to turn around. Turn the plane around. My baby needs a hospital." The pilot's voice crackled overhead. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're returning to the gate due to a medical emergency. Please remain seated." The plane banked. Too slow. Way too slow. Andrew's lips were turning blue. He didn't have time. "He needs treatment now," Maya said. 8 minutes or his heart stops." "Then do something!" Rebecca thrust Andrew toward her. Maya's hands shook as she took him. So light. Skin mottled. Cool. Breathing rapid. Shallow. "Jessica, medical kit, now." "You can't, you're just a—" The elderly woman stood. "This is insane!" "By the time we get to the gate, he'll be dead." Maya's voice filled the cabin. "Jessica, now!" Jessica ran. Maya cradled Andrew, fingers on his tiny wrist, pulse thready, racing. She opened his mouth, mucous membranes dry, pale, pressed his fontanelle, sunken. Tachycardia, hypotension, severe dehydration. Her voice was clinical, steady. "Addisonian crisis." "What does that mean?" Rebecca sobbed. "His body can't produce cortisol. His adrenal system is shutting down, without treatment. Shock. Cardiac arrest." "Oh God, what do we do?" Jessica returned with the red medical kit. Maya opened it. Stethoscope, gauze, injectable hydrocortisone. Jessica pulled out 2 vials. 100 milligrams each, for asthma attacks. "Enough." Maya set Andrew across the seats. Pulled out her own stethoscope. Silver, engraved, "Heal with love, Dad." Pressed it to Andrew's chest. Listened. Heart rate 180. Breath sounds shallow, rapid. She looked up at the adults staring at her. The businessman who questioned her. The elderly woman who clutched her purse. Rebecca who called her a fraud. And Marcus, still recording. But there was one thing she didn't know. Maya's hands shook. She'd studied this, written papers, reviewed 47 cases, but never on a real patient. She was 12 years old. What if she was wrong? "I can't." Her voice dropped. "I'm not certified. You're the only person who knows what's wrong." Rebecca gripped her shoulder. Desperate. Human. "Please save my baby." Maya looked at Andrew, eyes rolling back, breathing barely visible. Her father's voice. "In an emergency, baby girl, your hands can shake, but your mind stays steady. Trust what I taught you." Maya's hands stopped shaking. She drew up the hydrocortisone. 0.25 milliliters. 25 milligrams. "Jessica, call the gate. Paramedics with IV saline. Glucose, pediatric transport, Addisonian crisis. 11-month-old male, 10 kilograms. CAH patient, missed doses," Jessica radioed. Maya found the injection site. Andrew's tiny thigh. Wiped with alcohol. The cabin held its breath. "This will save you, baby." She pushed the needle in. Andrew didn't even flinch. Too far gone. Maya depressed the plunger, slowly, steadily. Withdrew. Applied pressure. "Hydrocortisone administered. 25 milligrams intramuscular. 7:47 a.m. "How long?" Rebecca whispered. 2 to 5 minutes. If it doesn't work..." Maya didn't answer. She dabbed apple juice on Andrew's lips. Raise his blood sugar. "Come on, Andrew. Stay with us." The plane stopped. Door opened. Paramedics flooded in. "Where's the patient?" "Here." The lead paramedic, Rodriguez, saw Andrew. Then Maya, 12 years old, holding a syringe. "Who are you?" "Maya Washington, junior medical researcher, Johns Hopkins Pediatric Endocrinology. I administered 25 milligrams hydrocortisone IM 90 seconds ago." Rodriguez stared. "You're a kid." "I'm a researcher who specializes in this. He has 4 minutes left." Rodriguez looked at his partner. Something passed between them. Get the IV kit, pediatric line, glucose drip. They moved fast. Within seconds, Andrew had an IV, fluids running. Blood pressure? Rodriguez asked. 60/40, critical. Glucose, finger prick, blood test. 42, severe hypoglycemia. Increase glucose to D10. Rodriguez looked at Maya. Expression changed. You bought him time, kid. Good work. We'll take it from here. They lifted Andrew onto the gurney. Rebecca tried to follow. Ma'am, does he have other conditions? Medications? Allergies? I don't... The nanny usually... Rebecca looked lost. She didn't know her own son's medical history. The truth they buried for 3 years. He has CAH, Maya said quietly. Congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Salt-wasting type. Daily hydrocortisone. Probably fludrocortisone, too. The paramedic wrote it down. You got all that from a bracelet? And the symptoms. Rodriguez looked at Maya again. Really looked. How old are you? 12. Jesus. He shook his head. 12. And you just saved this kid's life. He held out his fist. Maya bumped it. They wheeled Andrew away. Rebecca followed, then stopped, turned back. She looked at Maya for a long moment. Silence. Then, thank you. Barely a whisper. Then she was gone. The first-class cabin was dead silent. Maya stood there, father's stethoscope still around her neck, hands smudged with ink from the medical kit label, eyes red but dry. The businessman in row 1 cleared his throat, looked at his shoes. I apologize for earlier. I was wrong. The elderly woman in row 3 was crying openly. Sweetheart, I'm so sorry. We should have believed you. We should have listened. But Maya wasn't looking at them. She was staring at the empty space where Andrew had been, where she'd held a dying baby in her arms and made a choice that could have killed him. Her legs suddenly felt weak. Jessica caught her arm. Hey, you okay? I need to sit down. Jessica guided her back to 2B. Maya collapsed into the seat, whole body shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. You were incredible, Jessica whispered. Incredible. I've been flying for 12 years. I've never seen anything like that. Maya didn't respond, staring at her hands, still trembling. Jessica squeezed her shoulder, moved away to deal with other passengers. The cabin was buzzing now, everyone talking at once, phones coming out, people standing in the aisles. Marcus from row 4 walked over, crouched beside Maya's seat. Hey, I'm Marcus Thompson, Washington Post. Maya looked up, exhausted. Okay. I recorded what happened. Everything. From the moment the senator started yelling at you until the paramedics took the baby. He held up his phone. I want to publish it, but I need your permission first. Maya shook her head. I don't want to be famous. I just want to do my work. I know. But that senator, Rebecca Hartwell, 3 months ago, she voted against expanding CHIP, Children's Health Insurance Program. She called it fiscal irresponsibility, said poor families were gaming the system to get free health care. Marcus's voice was quiet but intense. She pushes policies that literally kill poor kids because they can't afford medicine. And then you, a 12-year-old black girl she treated like garbage, saved her son's life. Maya was quiet for a long moment. Will it help other kids? Kids who get dismissed because of how they look? Yes. Then okay, but tell my mom's story too, and my dad's. I want people to know why this matters. Marcus extended his hand. Maya shook it. Deal. Mini cliffhanger. An announcement crackled overhead. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the medical emergency, This flight will be delayed approximately 1 hour while we complete incident reports and await a replacement crew. We apologize for the inconvenience." Groans rippled through the cabin, but then something unexpected happened. A woman from economy appeared at the first-class curtain. Black, maybe 30, wearing nurse's scrubs. "Excuse me, I heard what happened. Is the little girl here, the one who helped the baby?" Jessica pointed to Maya. The woman walked over, tears streaming down her face. "Baby, I'm a pediatric nurse. I was back there and heard everything. What you did." Her voice broke. "My son has KIH. He's 4 now, but when he was a baby, he had a crisis just like that. And if the ER doctor hadn't known what to look for, I would have lost him." She kneeled beside Maya's seat. "You saved that baby's life. You're a hero." Maya's eyes filled with tears. "I was so scared." "Of course you were, but you did it anyway. That's what heroes do." Other passengers were gathering now. An older black man, a young Latina woman with a baby, a white couple holding hands. "You made us proud," the older man said. "My daughter wants to be a doctor," the Latina woman added. "I'm going to tell her about you." The white woman stepped forward, hesitant. "I'm a teacher, and I'm ashamed. I saw you sitting there and I made assumptions. I'm sorry. I'm going to do better." Maya nodded, unable to speak. One by one, passengers came up. Some apologized, some thanked her, some just wanted to shake her hand. The crowd grew. People from economy streaming into first class just to see the 12-year-old who saved a senator's baby. But not everyone was celebrating. A white man in an expensive suit, row 7 economy, pushed through. "This is ridiculous. We're delayed because of this circus. The senator should sue the airline for letting an unaccompanied minor perform medical procedures. It's negligent. It's the reason that baby is still alive." Marcus stepped between him and Maya. "And if you have a problem with that, I suggest you take it up with your conscience." The man backed down, muttering. Flight attendants were trying to restore order, but it was chaos. People taking selfies with Maya, others calling family members. Someone started a hashtag. "Thank you, Maya." Maya just wanted to disappear. Finally, Jessica made an announcement. "Folks, I know everyone is excited, but Maya needs some space. Please return to your seats so we can prepare for departure." Slowly, reluctantly, the crowd dispersed. Maya pulled out her tablet, tried to focus on her presentation for Boston Children's Hospital, but the words blurred. She couldn't concentrate. A new flight attendant approached, older woman with kind eyes. "Sweetheart, the airline wants to upgrade your return ticket, and we'd like to offer you anything you want. Food, drinks, whatever you need." "I don't want anything, thank you." "Are you sure? I'm sure." The flight attendant hesitated, left a bottle of water and cookies on Maya's tray table. Anyway, an hour later, the plane finally took off. Maya stared out the window as Houston fell away below her. She touched her father's stethoscope. "I got him, Dad," she whispered. "I got him." Her phone buzzed. Text from her mother. "Baby, Dr. Carter just called me. She heard what happened. She's so proud. I'm so proud. Call me when you land. I love you." Maya typed back. "Love you too, Mama." She closed her eyes, tried to sleep. But every time she did, she saw Andrew's blue lips, heard Rebecca's voice. "Help him, please," felt the weight of that tiny life in her hands. She opened her eyes, picked up her tablet, focused on her presentation. The title slide. Early Detection Protocols for Adrenal Crisis in Infants, a Call for Universal Screening. Co-authors, Maya R. Washington and Dr. James Washington, in memoriam. She touched the screen where her father's name appeared. And finally she let herself cry. Not because she was scared, not because she was hurt, but because she knew. She knew her father would have been so proud. She saved a life today, just like he taught her. That was her biggest mistake. The plane leveled off at cruising altitude. Cabin lights dimmed. Most passengers settled in to sleep. But in row 4, Marcus was already writing. His laptop screen glowed in the darkness. The headline forming, "Senator who voted against children's health care watches, 12-year-old black girl. She insulted save her son's life." Below it, the video, already uploaded, already processing. In 3 hours, when they landed in Boston, it would have 47,000 views. By tonight, 8 million. By tomorrow, the world. Two hours into the flight, Maya tried to focus on her presentation when Jessica sat beside her. "Hey, are you doing okay?" Maya nodded. "Is Andrew okay?" "I called the hospital. He's stable. Pediatric ICU, but stable. They said 2 more minutes and—" Jessica's voice caught. "You saved his life." Maya looked at clouds below. "My dad would have been faster. Wouldn't have hesitated. Your dad sounds amazing." "He was." Maya pulled up a photo. Her and her father in his white coat. Dr. James Washington. Pediatric endocrinology. "He was brilliant," Maya continued. "He used to take me to the hospital on weekends. Let me observe. By 10, I was reading his journals. He said I had the gift. We co-authored 3 papers before he died." "What happened?" Maya's smile faded. "Pancreatic cancer, stage 4, worked at a public hospital, understaffed, underfunded, had symptoms for months but kept putting off tests, too busy saving other people's kids. When they diagnosed him, too late, dead 6 months later, 38 years old." "Oh, Maya." "The hospital couldn't afford newer treatments. He could have saved thousands more kids. The system killed him." Jessica wiped tears. Here's what nobody knew about the conspiracy. "The worst part," Maya continued, 3 months before he died, he applied for a research grant, wanted to develop cheap diagnostic tests for adrenal disorders in infants, for poor communities, public hospitals, rural areas, save kids like Andrew before the crisis hits. What happened? Denied. The foundation said not commercially viable. Wanted research that could be patented, sold, profitable. Saving poor kids didn't make financial sense. What foundation? The Hartwell Foundation for Medical Innovation. Maya showed the rejection letter. Founded by Senator Hartwell's father. She sits on the board. Silence. Jessica's face went pale. "The woman who denied your father funding for research that could have saved her own son is the same woman whose son you just saved?" "Yes." Maya's laugh was hollow. Jessica stood. "People need to know." "They will. Marcus is writing it." Another passenger approached. Dr. Patricia Carter, 55, Asian, business suit, row 6. "Maya, I can't stay silent anymore." Maya's eyes widened. "Dr. Carter, what are you doing here?" "Same conference. Was going to surprise you." Dr. Carter sat. "But you surprised me first. What you did back there, that was resident-level medicine." "Just what Dad taught me." "He taught you well, but Maya..." Dr. Carter paused. "You hesitated before the injection. Doubted yourself." "I'm 12. Never treated a real patient. What if I was wrong?" "But you weren't. Know why? You've studied 47 cases. Read every paper on infant adrenal crisis. Simulated this 100 times. Your knowledge is real. Your skill is real. Only thing holding you back is the world saying you're too young." Maya looked down. "Sometimes I believe them." "I know. But today, you proved them wrong. Every person who saw just a kid. You showed who you really are." Dr. Carter pulled out an envelope. "I'm giving you this early. Maya opened it. Boston Children's Hospital letterhead. Dear Maya Washington, we are honored to present you with the James Washington Memorial Award for Excellence in Pediatric Research. In addition, we offer you a full scholarship to our medical training program for exceptional young scholars beginning fall 2026. Maya's hands trembled. Dr. Carter, your father would be so proud. I'm proud. After today, the whole world will know your name. Maya stared at the letter. Her father's name memorialized. The scholarship that changed everything. Proof that her work, her sacrifice, her endurance, it all mattered. She thought of Rebecca's voice. You don't belong here. The businessman's doubt. The elderly woman's fear. Every teacher who looked at her like she was too young, too small, too different. Her father's last words. Never let them make you small, baby girl. She's not small. She never was. What Maya didn't know yet. While she'd been flying, Marcus's video had gone viral. 8 million views and climbing. Senator Rebecca Hartwell's world was about to shatter. And Maya Washington, 12 years old, underestimated, unstoppable, was about to become a household name. Mini cliffhanger. The plane touched down at Logan International at 11:47 a.m. Maya's phone exploded the moment she turned it on. 47 missed calls, 134 text messages, hundreds of Twitter notifications, Instagram blowing up. What the? Maya scrolled through her phone, stomach sinking. The video was everywhere. Marcus posted it 3 hours ago. Caption: Senator Rebecca Hartwell, who voted against children's health care funding, screams at 12-year-old black medical researcher, then watches that same child save her son's life. This is what judgment looks like. This is what grace looks like. Meet Maya Washington. 8.2 million views, 42,000 retweets. Every major outlet picked it up. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, Washington Post, New York Times. Her phone rang. Boston number. Hello? Ms. Washington, this is Bradley Carter from CNN. We'd love to have you on tonight. Hang up. Another call. Maya Washington? Rebecca Goldstein. Good morning, America? Hang up. Another. Book deal. Hang up. Movie rights. Hang up. Dr. Carter put a hand on her shoulder. Turn it off, just for now. Maya powered down her phone. But as they deplaned, she saw it. Airport TVs everywhere, all news channels, her face on every screen, the video playing on loop. A CNN anchor. Senator Hartwell has released a statement. Quote, I want to publicly apologize to Maya Washington for my behavior on Flight 447. I was stressed, frightened for my son, and I allowed my fear to manifest as cruelty toward a child who ultimately saved my son's life. I have no excuse. I am deeply sorry, and I am grateful beyond words. The anchor continued. However, the damage may be done. Senator Hartwell's voting record on children's health care is now under intense scrutiny. Multiple advocacy groups are calling for her resignation. Maya walked faster. Head down. They were halfway through the terminal when she heard it. Maya Washington. She turned. Senator Rebecca Hartwell was running toward her. Still in her vomit-stained Chanel suit. Mascara smudged, hair falling out. She looked nothing like the polished politician from the plane. She looked like a mother. Security tried to stop her. Ma'am, you can't. Maya, please. Maya stopped, waited. Rebecca reached her. Breathless. I need to talk to you, please, 5 minutes. You should be with your son. He's stable, with specialists. They said I should find you. Rebecca's voice cracked. They said you saved his life. The doctors. They said if you'd waited 3 more minutes, cardiac arrest. They said your diagnosis was perfect. Your treatment was perfect. They said... Her voice broke entirely. You knew more about his condition than I did. His own mother, Silence. This is when the truth came out. "I didn't know what CAH was," Rebecca whispered. "His pediatrician told me at 6 months, said it was manageable, gave prescriptions. I hired a nanny to handle medications. I never learned, never thought I needed to. Too busy, too important." "Your nanny quit 2 days ago. How did you told the flight attendant you didn't know when Andrew ate, didn't know his medication schedule, didn't recognize adrenal crisis symptoms even though he's been diagnosed for months. You didn't know because you didn't want to know." Rebecca flinched like she'd been slapped. "You're right, absolutely right. I failed him so badly that a 12-year-old stranger knew how to save him better than his own mother." Tears streamed down her face. "And the worst part, the absolute worst, is that I stood on that plane and treated you like you were worthless, like you were nothing, like you didn't belong, when the truth is you are everything I should have been. Smart, prepared, knowledgeable, caring. You knew my son's condition better than I did. You cared about his life more than I did in that moment, and I—" Her voice dropped. "I called you a liar, suggested you stole your seat, looked at you and saw everything I've been taught to despise, and I was wrong, and God, I was so wrong." Maya stood very still. People were staring. Dr. Carter had a hand on Maya's shoulder. Airport security hovered. This was the moment where Maya could destroy her. Publicly shame her. Refuse forgiveness. Tell the cameras what kind of person Rebecca Hartwell really was. It would be justified, righteous, deserved. But Maya looked at Rebecca and saw something she recognized. Fear. The same fear on her father's face 3 years ago when doctors said no more treatment. The same fear she felt holding that syringe over Andrew's tiny leg. The fear of failing the person you love most. "Your son is alive," Maya said quietly. "That's what matters. Because of you. Because I had knowledge you didn't, not because I'm better. Because I spent 3 years studying the disease that killed my father and couldn't stand to watch another child suffer when I could help." Rebecca's face crumpled. "Your father?" "Dr. James Washington, pediatric endocrinologist. Died 3 years ago from pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Diagnosed too late because the public hospital where he worked couldn't afford adequate screening. He spent his last months trying to get funding for research that would help kids like Andrew. Kids in poor communities. Kids whose parents can't afford private pediatricians and specialty medications." Maya pulled out her tablet, showed Rebecca the rejection letter. What she found next would change everything. "Your family foundation denied him. You personally voted against funding that would have expanded his research. You said it wasn't fiscally responsible." Rebecca read it, hands shaking. "Oh my God. My father could have developed screening that would have caught Andrew's CAH earlier, educated parents, all parents, not just rich ones, about warning signs of adrenal crisis, could have saved thousands of kids. But your foundation, your family, decided that wasn't profitable enough." "I didn't know," Rebecca whispered. "I swear, I didn't know." "You didn't want to know, just like with Andrew's CAC. Easier to not know, easier to let others handle the hard stuff, easier to make decisions about fiscal responsibility when you don't have to look at the faces of people your decisions hurt." Rebecca was openly sobbing now. "I'm sorry. So sorry. Your father, Andrew, all of it. I'm sorry." Maya watched her for a long moment. Then she said something that would become the most quoted line of the entire incident. "I don't need you to be sorry. I need you to be better. Go back to Washington and vote differently. Look at kids like me and see human beings instead of statistics. Fund research that saves lives instead of research that makes money. Be the mother to all children that you should have been to Andrew." Silence. Then Rebecca nodded. "I will. I swear I will." "Good." Maya started to walk away, then stopped. "And Senator?" Learn what CAH means. Learn his medication schedule. Learn the signs of adrenal crisis. Be his mother, not his nanny's employer. His mother. Rebecca was still crying when Maya walked away. An hour later. Boston Children's Hospital. Maya stood at a podium before 50 reporters, Dr. Carter beside her, Marcus on the other side. Behind them, International Pediatric Endocrinology Conference banner. "I'm not here to talk about the plane," Maya said into the microphone. "I'm here to talk about thousands of children who die every year from preventable diseases because they don't have access to the same health care as wealthy families. About the fact that CAH, manageable with daily medication, becomes deadly when parents can't afford proper medical care. About why research into affordable diagnostics gets rejected while profitable pharmaceutical research gets millions." Reporters scribbled frantically. "My father spent his life trying to fix these inequalities. He died because of them. I'm standing here because I don't want any other 12-year-old to grow up without their father because the system values profit over people." A reporter raised her hand. "Maya, do you blame Senator Hartwell for your father's death?" Maya paused. "No. I blame a system that lets politicians make healthcare decisions based on money instead of human lives. Senator Hartwell is a product of that system. So was I on that plane, just on the opposite end. The difference is today she has a choice. She can keep voting the same way or she can change. We all have that choice. What do you want people to take away?" Maya looked directly into cameras. "That intelligence doesn't have an age limit. Expertise doesn't have a color. The kid sitting next to you might be the one who saves your life. And if we keep dismissing people based on how they look instead of what they know, we're going to keep losing brilliant minds like my father's. We can't afford that. Children can't afford that." She stepped away. The room erupted in applause. Comment where you're listening from. 3 days later, Friday afternoon, Boston Children's Hospital. Andrew Hartwell was released from pediatric ICU. Rebecca carried him out, cameras flashing. She looked exhausted, changed. In her hand, she held a folder. A complete medical education packet on CAH. She spent 3 days learning everything. Medication schedules, warning signs, emergency protocols. She also spent 3 days in meetings, hospital administrators, advocacy groups, policy experts. The photo that went viral wasn't of her leaving the hospital. It was of her standing in the hospital's research wing, writing a check for $5 million, the James Washington Memorial Research Grant, a program to develop affordable diagnostic screening for rare pediatric diseases in underserved communities. "I can't bring Dr. Washington back," she told reporters, "but I can make sure his work continues, and I can make damn sure no other child dies because their parents can't afford the health care my son gets." When asked if she'll vote differently on the upcoming healthcare funding bill, she said simply, "Yes, I've been wrong. It's time to be right." Political analysts predicted she'll lose her next election. Conservative donors were already pulling funding. Rebecca Hartwell didn't seem to care. Mini cliffhanger. Meanwhile, in Houston, Maya's mother, Kesha, sat in their tiny Third Ward apartment, watching the news coverage with tears streaming down her face. Her phone rang. Unknown Boston number. "Miss Washington? This is Dr. Patricia Carter from Johns Hopkins. I'm calling about Maya's full scholarship to our Medical Scholars Program. We'd also like to offer you a position as pediatric nurse specialist in our research division, with relocation assistance to Baltimore, full benefits, and a salary that will allow you to stop working double shifts." Kesha dropped the phone, then picked it up, laughing and crying. "Yes, yes, oh my God, yes." In Boston, Maya stood in her hotel room looking at her father's photo. "We did it, Dad," she whispered. "We saved him." And for the first time in 3 years, She felt like maybe, just maybe, her father's death meant something. Like his legacy would live on. Like she was finally strong enough to carry it forward. 6 months later, the James Washington Memorial Research Grant funded its first 3 projects in January 2026. One of them, a rapid diagnostic test for adrenal insufficiency in infants, developed by researchers at Morehouse School of Medicine, completed human trials in March. The test cost $12 to manufacture. Could be administered by any healthcare provider. It saved 47 children in its first 6 months of use. Dr. James Washington's dream was becoming reality. February 2026, Washington, D.C. Maya sat at a table before the Senate Health Committee. She was 13 now, still small, still wearing her father's stethoscope. But when she spoke, seasoned senators leaned forward to listen. Members of the committee, Maya read from her prepared statement. I'm here to testify in support of the Children's Healthcare Access Act. This bill would expand Medicaid, fund public hospital research programs, and provide grants for affordable diagnostic technologies. Exactly the kind of support my father needed and never received. She looked up at the senators. Some of you will say we can't afford it, that it's not fiscally responsible. I'm here to tell you we can't afford not to do it. Because every child we lose to preventable disease is a future doctor, scientist, teacher, leader we'll never have. Every parent who dies because they can't afford treatment is a parent who can't raise the next generation of problem solvers. Her voice was steady, strong. My father died at 38. He could have lived another 40 years, could have saved thousands of children, but he's gone because the system valued profit margins over his life. Don't let that keep happening. When she finished, the committee room was silent. Then Senator Rebecca Hartwell, who shocked everyone by co-sponsoring the bill, spoke. Thank you, Dr. Washington. I vote yes, and I encourage my colleagues to do the same. The bill passed 73-27. President Rodriguez signed it into law 3 weeks later. That was the biggest victory. Situakun Naiso, September 2026. Maya walked through the halls of Johns Hopkins Hospital wearing a white coat with her name embroidered. Maya R. Washington, junior medical researcher. She was 13. The youngest researcher in the hospital's 130-year history. Patients stopped to stare. Some recognized her from the viral video. Some just saw a kid in a doctor's coat. She didn't care anymore. She walked into the pediatric endocrinology research lab. Her team. Dr. Patricia Carter smiled. Ready to change the world? Maya touched her father's stethoscope. I already started. One year after the plane incident. Andrew Hartwell's first birthday was celebrated quietly. No cameras, no press release. Just Rebecca, Andrew, and a small cake. Andrew was thriving, his CAH managed perfectly. Rebecca knew every medication, every symptom, every protocol. On the wall of their home hung a framed photo. Andrew with Maya, taken at the hospital 6 months earlier. Beneath it, a handwritten note from Maya. Dear Andrew, your life matters. Not because of who your mother is or how much money your family has, just because you're you. Don't ever let anyone tell you otherwise. Love, Maya. Rebecca read it every day. It reminded her of what she almost lost and what she was given the chance to become. The video of Maya and Rebecca has been viewed 47 million times. It spawned a documentary. Maya declined to participate. It inspired a children's book, The Girl Who Knew. Maya's mother wrote it. Proceeds go to medical scholarships. It changed healthcare policy in 12 states. It saved countless lives. But for Maya, the most important thing was simpler. A 12-year-old black girl from 3rd Ward, Houston, was told she didn't belong. And she proved that she belongs everywhere. So what's the lesson here? Maya Washington is exceptional. Published researcher at 12, extraordinary. But here's the truth. Maya almost wasn't allowed to be exceptional. If Rebecca Hartwell had gotten her way, Maya would have been removed from that plane, humiliated, treated like a criminal, and Andrew Hartwell would have died. Think about how close we came to losing a child's life because adults couldn't see past their prejudices. Think about how many Maya Washingtons are out there right now, brilliant, talented, capable, being dismissed because they're too young, too black, too poor, too not what we expect. How many future doctors are we losing because we judge before we listen? How many life-saving discoveries are we missing because we fund profitable research instead of necessary research? How many children are dying because their parents can't afford the health care that senators' children get? Maya's father fought these inequalities his whole life. He lost. But his daughter won. Not just for Andrew. Not just for herself. For every kid who's been told they don't belong. Here's what I want you to do. First, next time you see someone who doesn't look like they belong, pause. Ask yourself, what do I actually know about this person? Second, if you have power, if you vote, hire, make policy, invest in people instead of profits. Third, if you're young and dismissed, remember Maya, you do belong, your voice matters. Finally, share this story. The only way we change systems is by changing minds first. Have you ever been underestimated because of how you looked? Drop your story in the comments. Did someone judge you before knowing you? Tell me about it. Because we can all choose. Dismiss people based on what we see, or listen to what they know. Protect a broken system, or fight to fix it. Let brilliant minds go unrecognized or amplify their voices. This is Maya Washington, 12 years old. Black, brilliant, underestimated. The girl who saved a life at 35,000 feet. The girl who changed a senator's heart. The girl who proved genius doesn't have an age limit, and compassion doesn't have a color. Never underestimate anyone. You never know who might save your life. Subscribe to channel. Stay just, stay loud, stay free.